Hello, my name is Mando Etim. I'm a player of Craiova, Universitatea Craiova.
First of all, we'd like the fans to get to know you better. Could you tell us your story in your own words?
Yeah, I mean, if I have to do that, we have to spend all night here, but I try to keep it short. My name is Mando Etim, 26. I'm from Nigeria, born and raised. Left home when I was 13. I moved to Cameroon. It's a neighboring country in Africa to Nigeria. I was in a football school in academy for 3 years until I was 16. I got a scholarship to go to school in the US. So I had to move from Africa to a whole different continent and start all over again. I was in the private school in US, Florida to be precise, where I spent 1.5 years until I was 18. After I graduated from high school in the US, I got my first professional contract to play for Los Angeles Football Club in 2017. I had a contract with them for 1 year, but I spent the season with Orange County because I had to get some experience. I was still very young, fresh from high school. And yeah, I spent 2 years in the US, in California with Orange County, the next year in Texas with Houston Dynamo. Then I came to Denmark, where I spent the next 6 years of my life playing football and just living life, living my dreams. And now I'm here.
Tell me, what is Calabar like, the place where you were born?
You did your research, huh?
Of course I did.
It's what you call the ghetto, in simple words. It's where you have to struggle to make ends meet. Nothing is given to you. You have to work for it. So that is what I grew up with. My family, my parents. My dad is dead now, but my mom and my dad back then, they had to work really hard to provide for us. It wasn't always easy for them because they also had to work hard to make ends meet for themselves. And I grew up in a big family. I have 6 other kids, 6 other siblings, plus me, 7. So it was not easy to raise 7 kids in such conditions. Growing up with nothing, I grew up from a poor family. So it was tough. It was tough growing up in Calabar, but I'm very grateful I had to grow up in this environment because everything I went through made me who I am today. So I'm grateful for that.
Monday is quite an interesting name.
Yeah.
Does it have a story behind it?
Actually, maybe the thing I remember about it, it was many years ago. I had a conversation with my mom, like, why Monday? Why you call me Monday? Because actually the thing some people don't know is, in my family we are 7 kids. 3 of us have day of the week names. So me, I'm Monday. My eldest sibling, his name was Friday, but he changed it so fast after he grew up. And the one that is above me, his name was Sunday, and he also changed it as well.
Why didn't you change your name?
I don't know. I just wanted to keep it real. Like I said, I had a conversation with my mom, like, why you call me Monday? The way I remember it, like I said, it's very blurry memories, but the way I remember it, she said to me, because I'm the 6th child, and my sister is the 7th child. My dad always wanted a girl. So they kept trying, and we have 6 boys and 1 girl. So I think at some point they ran out of names because they kept having boys. And when it came to me, I think my dad was like, I don't have more male names. You have to name him. And I think my mom was like, what day of the week is it today? And they said it's Monday morning. And it's like, okay, we call him Monday for now because I'm also out of names. And then we can change it later or something like that. So I think that is the story behind it. It was nothing too complicated. It was just a simple thing. And then I could change it after because they did the same with my other siblings. But I think as I grew up to learn more about the story behind it, I was like, I like this. I'm going to keep it the way it is because of the story behind it. I was giving birth in the house, in my mom's room. So it was not at the hospital. So everything about my birth and the name and everything, it was just so fascinating to me. And I loved it. And I was like, I'm not going to change anything about it.
Amazing. And since it's Monday, is the start of the week, we can think of it as a fresh start.
Exactly.
Okay. You started at the Kaji Sports Academy, the same place where Eto'o began his football journey. What was it like for you back then? Do you remember? Like, what did a day in your life look like back then?
Well, like I said, it was academy. And back in the days, I think it was 2011 or 12 or 13, I went there. It was one of the best academies in Africa. So for you to come into the school, by paying for the tuition fee or by getting a scholarship, which I got a scholarship to come in. You had to be really good. So it was a privilege, first of all, for me to come in to get a scholarship to go to the school that all these big names came out from, graduated from. Eto'o one of them. He was a total legend in the school, by the way. A typical day was tough because we had to go to school in the mornings, just like a normal kid. We'll wake up, get ready, go to school. And then when we came back from school, we had to hurry up, like to the dorms, change, and you had to go out to train because we also had trainings. So it was hectic. It was tough. It was difficult. It was demanding physically, mentally. And I was very young. Like I said, I was 13. You know, having to go through all that without any support, if I can put it that way, because my family was in Nigeria and I was all in a different country, different language, different culture, different food, different people, all by myself at 13 years old. And I had to go through this routine every single day by myself. So it wasn't easy. It was tough. But like I said, all the struggles and sacrifices, it kind of made me who I am today and brought me to where I am today.
Is it difficult in your hometown for young players to become professionals?
Absolutely. Now that you mention it, you know, the thing is, there is so much talented players in Africa, all over the place, but it's hard to get the opportunities, you know, to showcase yourself in a bigger scene, in a bigger platform, you know. So it just sometimes it breaks my heart to know that many of my childhood friends that we grew up playing football together in the streets, that are some of them are even better than me, to be honest, in some aspect of the game, didn't get a chance to, you know, go to higher level or make it to the professional level because they didn't have the opportunities that some other people had. So I was very privileged and blessed. Of course, I had the talent and I had the potential, but I just wish the same chances and opportunities I had, I wish other people can also have it that don't have the same access. So it's tough. It's tough to make it to professional level, growing up in the environment and the circumstances that I grew up in Africa, not just in Nigeria or in Calabar, in Africa as a whole.
You told us about your parents, but I would like for you to tell us a bit if they were supportive with your decision of doing football, because at 13, leaving your son to go leave his house.
Yeah, that is interesting because I was a pin in the butt for my parents actually with this, because the thing is, I had the passion. Like I just could not go a day without playing football. And even though I didn't have football shoes, I didn't have nice clothes, I didn't care. I just wanted to kick a ball. Sometimes we do it without shirts, sometimes we do it without shoes. We get injured because it's very rough. There's no grass, it's a raw. But I would come back bleeding and the next day I'm still gonna have to play football. So it kind of put my parents in a very difficult position because they're trying to protect their son, but at the same time, they don't want to hinder me from pursuing my dreams. So back to your question, mom, on my side, dad, absolutely not. My dad was very protective. He kept saying to me and to us that we have to stop this kid. If not, he's gonna get injured and his career is gonna end before it even starts. And I'm very good at arts. I can paint you sitting like that. I'm very good. I don't know how good I am now, but back then I was very good. So he wanted me to go more on the art side, because he thought you cannot get injured just painting somebody. You cannot break your leg, you cannot break your knee, you know. You just need your hand and your eyes on your head, that's it, to just paint or to whatever. But my mom was like, let's just let him explore, you know, you never know what this could bring. Yeah, of course, there's a risk of he could get injured, like other players get injured. But what about the other people that make it to the professional level and make a life out of it? So it was always this conflict of interest with my parents growing up. But at some point, the changing point for me was when I got the scholarship to go to Cameroon at this Kaji Sport Academy. And my dad was still alive, thank God. That was when it was like, okay, let's see, maybe there's a chance that he could make it to the higher level and make a profession out of it without me hindering him. So I'm very happy that I got the chance to go to Kaji Sport Academy, which was, like I said, one of the best schools back then. Because that kind of was like a mind opening for my dad that, maybe this is possible without me getting in his way. And then he started supporting me more. So then I finally had the support of my both parents to pursue my dreams.
Do you have like any pictures of your paintings?
From back then?
Yes, so you can show us.
Not from back then, but recently I painted a little bit.
So if we were to bring you a canvas, you would paint for us one day, maybe. Maybe you can try and paint the stadium, the Oblemenco stadium.
Like I said, I can try, but I don't know how nice it would be now. But when I was younger, because the school I went to, we had like an art class, and I was in this art class. So you can imagine, the more you practice something, the better you get at it. So this is what, like 13, 15 years ago. I haven't done this. I don't know how good it could be, but just back then, it's just to say what was the conflict of interest with my parents, because one wanted me to pursue my art dreams and the other one wanted me to pursue my football dreams. But I'm glad they all came together and supported my football dream.
So now you're creating art through football.
Exactly. Anything is possible.
Tell me, how was your time in the United States, like moving from Africa to United States? How was it like for you?
I would say it was a big transition for me in a lot of ways, because like I said, I had to not just abandon Nigeria to Cameroon. Now I had to abandon Africa as a whole. Like I grew up in the continent. I'm used to how things are done in Africa, and I'm used to how people are, how we treat each other. And all of a sudden, I find myself among people of on the other people of the other color. You know, they're used to doing things their way. You know, so it was a big transition for me to navigate. I was only 16, so I was in my teenage years. So it was a very confusing stage in my life. But luckily, I don't know how or where I got it from. I was very mature at a very young age. Maybe it's a result of leaving home very early, because I had to grow up very fast. I had to make decisions sometimes for myself. It was a big transition for me because I had to adapt to a new culture. I had to make new friends. I had to get used to how things are, the way of life in the U.S. And I mean, everyone, Americans, it can be wild to live in the U.S. You know, because they're special people. But luckily for me, again, not just the fact that I had to grow up very fast, because I moved home when I was young. I was in a football school, like in an academy. So it kind of like, it was very good for me because I was in an enclosed area. I wasn't exposed to too many things that wasn't necessary for me at that point. So it was just school, football. And I lived in the dorm. So I live in the school because I didn't have a family in the US. For those of us that came from other countries to the football school or to the academy, sorry, you had to live on campus, because where are you gonna go? So it was actually an advantage for me that I tried to use. So, but I had a good time in the US. I made some good friends, met some good people, learned a lot, both professionally and also like just socially and normally as well. So I was glad for that.
And after the US, it came another big transition
Oh
for you
boy.
because you came to Europe. How was it like?
Yeah, it was just I was just like, you know what, just add it to my bucket list. It just kept growing and growing. Another challenge. But again, I love challenges because you go through the kind of childhood I had and you don't like challenges, then you're in for a big mess. So you have to embrace it and make the most out of it. That was exactly what I tried to do. First when I moved to the US, and then when I moved to Europe. I didn't know what to expect when I was moving to Europe, to be honest, because okay, US, when I knew I was going to the US, when I knew for sure my visa is on the way, when I was still in Cameroon, I started, you know, doing research about US, and you watch a lot of American movies. So you kind of have like an idea of how Americans are, even though movies can be faked, but at least you have an idea. But Europe, Denmark for that matter, I was like, "Ah, man, where do I even start?" I didn't even know where Denmark was in Europe. Like I didn't know it was, yeah, so it was like, oh boy. But I was just prepared mentally for the challenge, and that is a good thing about me, that I try to prepare for the worst, so that if it happens, I'm ready, I'm prepared. And then when I came, I was surprised. You know, the only thing that was challenging for me when I moved to Denmark or to Europe, the weather.
I thought you were going to say so because
The weather.
I have a question about that.
Yeah. So, but everything else was really good. I met some good people, and again, I came because of football, so it was easy to integrate because I had teammates with me 24/7, or not 24/7, but most of my days. So yeah, it was okay.
What's the biggest culture shock, or if you can call it like that, when moving from US to Europe?
The biggest culture shock? Huh. I would say it's probably the social part of it. And this is a question I've been asked a few times, and I have to be careful with how I phrase it so I don't step on any toes. But at the same time, I like to be honest. When I was in the US, sometimes people can fake it a little bit. You know, the fake it to make it seem like you guys are buddies, or like you guys are popping it and stuff like that. But you don't really know the intentions. You don't really know where you guys at when things get real. And when I came to Europe, Denmark specifically, it was more like people were just so casual, so simple. You know, if someone likes you, you're gonna know. If someone is hanging out with you because they really enjoy your company, you're gonna know. So for me, there was a little gap there, and I didn't have a problem with the way the Americans are, like the way it was in the U.S. their social life. Um, but I enjoyed it more when I came to Europe because I felt like it felt more legit, like it felt more intentional. So that is what I would say from my side. Of course, everyone is entitled to their opinions.
How did you feel experiencing a real winter in Denmark for the first time?
Oh. See, this is the thing though, because I thought I came to Denmark in July, I think thereabout. So normally that's like around summertime, right? And then I was like, at least I get to enjoy a few months of summer, and then I'm ready for the winter because people told me, my agent told me before I came, Denmark is very cold in the winter, so you have to be prepared. I was like, okay, so it's good I'm coming in July. At least I have some months to enjoy before. But immediately I came, it felt like it was already winter because I wake up on some days it's raining, and the next day it's windy. The next hour is, I was like, you gotta be kidding me right now. So, but then when the real winter hit, I was like, oh boy. It was tough, to be honest with you. That was my first real winter, actually. I didn't know what to do. I was miserable. I was a mess. For those that know me intimately or personally, I hate anything that is cold. I hate it when it's windy. I hate it when it's snowy. I hate it when it's cold. I just don't like it because I grew up in Nigeria. I grew up in Africa. I grew up in warm conditions. So that is what I'm used to, you know. But like I said, mindset. I had to adapt real fast because I knew this is it. I cannot change it. It is what it is. So I did what I had to do. I had to survive because that is what I've always done since I was a kid. Growing up in the street, you have to survive. You move to Cameroon, no family support, you have to survive. You come to the US, new culture, you have to survive. You come to Europe, winter, you have to survive. So it's just that survival instinct that I've had with me, that I've also had from my parents because they also show us the way to survive when things aren't going your way or when things are just out of your comfort zone, you know, sometimes.
FYI, winters here in Romania are not that harsh. Not that harsh.
We're gonna find out.
I read somewhere that after a match in which you were MVP in Denmark, you received movie tickets as a reward. Is that true? How was it like?
You get like a two tickets, yeah, to the movies with free popcorn and free.
Do you remember what movie we went to see?
I've had a couple of them, so yeah. I cannot remember, but I love action movies. It was one of some good action movie.
Yeah, like in Denmark and Norway, they are famous for like having those kind of rewards for
Yeah, I've
MVP, like
actually
eggs and all of that.
yeah, you're because every club is like different what they give out for MVPs after the game, but like it's very common. They have that in common where they give like movie tickets and stuff like that. But like I said, again, different culture. And
Are there any rewards that you received besides the tickets?
I also got a dinner tickets to a specific restaurant, that was one of the sponsors of the club. So that was also nice. Yeah.
Monday, how are you feeling here at Craiova?
Good. Good, to be honest. Better than I actually expected, if we're being honest on this. Because like I said, before coming here, I didn't know what to expect. I've never been to Romania before. Craiova wasn't a club like that I knew previously before. But of course, after I knew that I was coming here, I had to do a lot of research and stuff. But still, it's not the same as when you're actually here, experiencing the whole thing real life. So I would say I feel better. Not I feel good here, better than I had expected because people are actually nice here. To be honest, they're very welcoming, hospitable, and of course the fans. I just love the way the fans are here. You know, like they're very like involved and like. Of course, some is good, some is bad, but that is football, you know. Because of course they want the best for the club. But life in Craiova is good. Better than I expected. That's what I can say.
What was your first impression when you stepped onto the pitch of Oblemenco Stadium?
Oh my God, surreal. It was a surreal moment for me. I remember I was there with with my wife, and I think it was Marius that had to give us a tour of the stadium. I'm just standing, I'm like, unbelievable. This is impossible because You know, those, as a kid, like growing up, you see this kind of stadiums on the TV and the atmosphere. And it wasn't even full the day I was there to see the stadium the very first time. It was empty, but it was just that feeling of like, if this is this huge when it's empty, imagine when it's filled. You know, so it was just a lot of things going through my head, and it was just a surreal moment for me. And I was just like, I had to digest it, you know, because it's like going from the streets. No one knows who you are. You're just playing, trying to like survive, and all of a sudden you're standing in this big stadium and the big platforms and stuff like that. So the first time it was a surreal moment for me that I really had to take a moment to be grateful for, because like I said, this is a privilege and opportunity that many back home in different parts of Africa and also the world that wish to have but don't have. So for me to be standing there the first time, I was like, I'm blessed. So I was very grateful for it.
For me, it feels like the stadium hugs you.
Because
It's from its shape, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. And it just feels so little. Like you're
Yes.
just like a tiny
Yes.
thing standing in a very huge stadium. So yeah.
Your first goal for Craiova came in an important match, the one against Noah in the Conference League. What was that moment like for you?
It was actually a moment I was going around like just waiting for anxiously since I came to Craiova. But I just didn't know when and how it would come. You know, I just wanted to score like my first goal in that stadium. But I was just like, when is it gonna come? I just kept waiting. And for it to come in an important game like that, my first ever Conference League game. Because before that game we played in Poland, but I did not play because we had a red card, so we had to do a defensive substitution. So that was literally my first ever Conference League game. And for me to score in that game at home in that stadium, in that atmosphere, it was another surreal moment that I had gone around waiting anxiously for, and I didn't even know what to do. Actually, after I scored, it was just too many emotions through my head, and the only thing I could just do was I just looked up. I was like, God, I'm grateful for this, because I'm just a little kid that was just dreaming to play football and doing this. So it was a special moment for me.
I only have one question on this topic. How was your relationship with Miral Rădoi, and how was your reaction when you found out that he was leaving the team? I'm asking this because players often grow attached to the coach that brought them, you know?
It's a good question. I have nothing to hide. First of all, I came because of Mirel, because he's the one that wanted me here. After I came, of course, everything I always do when I go to a new club, I try to get to know the people, especially the staff, because the way the staff and the owners of a club is, you would know how things are run in that club. If the staff and the owners are a little bit, I don't know, disorganized or whatever, probably the club is heading towards a bad route, because then the structure is not there, the culture is bad and stuff. So I had to pay close attention to him and his staff the first few weeks that I was here, and I was impressed. He's very honest, he's very direct. Um, you can see he's very engaged, he's very committed to, he's very professional. So everything about him, I loved it. I had no issues with him, and I hope it's the same for him. I try to be professional. I try to be present, try to be committed to his project and the way he wants to play and stuff like that. So, and then when I found out he was leaving, um, I was a little confused, because, like I said, I came because of him, and I hadn't been here for 2 months, and I found out he was leaving. So, for me, it was a little confusing moment for me, and I didn't want to stick my nose too much into what was going on in it, because it's not my business. Coaches come and go, players come and go. The most important thing is the club. But of course, it's always good to have clarity. And I felt like I did not get the clarity I wanted from it. But again, at the same time, it's all about respect. I had to respect the decision. I had to respect the circumstances. He tried to explain to us in the locker room, all of us, why he was leaving and the reasons behind it. And for me, that was enough. I just had to respect that. Everybody's different. And so, yeah, so that is all I can say about that. There's nothing more that happened.
And the first match after Miral Rădoi left, you scored your second goal. And I've been there to your first goal. And I also was there at the match when you scored the second
You have
goal.
to come to all my games now so I can score more goals.
I wanted to ask you about, because at the first match I was on the other side. So I wanted to ask you about your celebration at the goal, because it's quite interesting. I saw it. So tell us, explain it to us.
Like, you want to know why my celebration? Well, I did two celebrations after I scored. in this game, the one with the baby.
Yeah,
because
that I saw, but
I just had a baby.
the one that you repeated the
But the
most.
second one is like my signature celebration. There's not so much. There's not like a crazy story behind it. It's just the way I remember it, because I don't even know how it came about. I think I was going through a very tough time. I think it was in Denmark, because I started doing the celebration in Denmark before I came here. I was having a rough time in my career. I don't know what was happening to me. I think it was when I lost my baby, my first baby. It's okay. My wife had a miscarriage, and then it was just really tough at that moment. And then I just said to myself, you know what? This is part of it. This is part of life. You just have to close your eyes and just keep going. And then whatever comes in your way, just push it aside. Go through it. So then I was like, close your eyes, keep going. So when I close my eyes, I have to keep going, but I could hit something. And when I hit something, I have to shoot it out of my way. So I just had to clear whatever was in front of me, because I have only one option: to keep going forward. I'm not going backwards, no matter what I'm going through. In the good and the bad, tough, I have to keep going. So that is the story behind the whole celebration. I have to keep going forward no matter what.
Thank you for sharing your story and also being vulnerable.
Yeah.
In the end, I would like you to send a message to the Craiova's fans.
Hello again, Craiova fans. Again, this is Monday Team. I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit more about me. I'm not that complicated. I'm a simple man. But if I have to say one thing to you guys, is just keep supporting us. I know it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes we have bad moments and bad periods, but this is part of the game. We are family, and I hope we can stick together as a family. In families, there's good times and there's bad times, but what keeps us going is when we stay together as unity, okay? So I love you guys and hope to see you guys soon.